to me like politicians, sometimes they behave like they are immune to shame. But the truth is, they get embarrassed. And I know our president was embarrassed.
The way Bonoko hapo nimeona kuna ka video kamekuwa kakitrend kutoka side za New York City, okay? Huko New York by the way kulikuwa na hii meeting ya UN na president wetu alikuwa ameenda Sapon, of course alikuwa amebeba mbogi yake kutoka 254. Now hii ndio kitu inashangaza wase because prezo akiongea Sapo kuna watu walionekana Sapo wao kazi zao kazi wanatafuna
Jaba walikuwa jaba.
Si jaba jo. Wano nini unaweza chukua juu wanaonekana kwa video huyo ni Joho wakiwa na Kabogo asapo. Yes. Nini unaweza chukua unafanya?
Asini jaba ration.
Sikia.
Njugu.
Ndio hiyo sasa. Na kidogo watu wamejam tu sana kwa mtandao wanashangaa. Ati mbona ati hii ni disrespect. Mbona wanadishi mkubwa akiongea, mimi nashangaa. Kweli kuenjoy kasnack kako kidogo hapo kwa meeting ni vibaya.
Kabisa Jo. Jo.
Ni vibaya kweli.
Kama walikuwa jaba.
Si jaba, umesikia ni jugu hapo. Ni vibaya mtu kuenjoy jugu zako hapo umetulia ukisikiza.
Tafuta ujipawa kuliko kutafuta jugu za kujisearch. Ndio kunywa ujipawa haijawa.
God have mercy upon us. Oh my God.
Kumanina.
Allah.
Pisha wewe, Uvambari manji punda mimi.
God have mercy upon us.
Oh my God.
Allah.
Pisha wewe, Uvambari manji.
Hi fam. There are so many things that Trump does and says that personally I do not agree with. But again, listen to how he trashes the ideas, the whole thing about carbon footprints and carbon credits in front of the whole UN delegation, the UN entire state members. And then the way he trashes it and says that continue embracing this whole nonsense. He called it nonsense, and your country will go into. First, let's listen to Ruto, our president, the Kenyan president, making a speech regarding the green energy and all that, and what Trump said about the whole stuff. Then let's try to understand who could be making some more sense or telling something that we can believe in. Is it Trump? Is it Mr. Kasongo?
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, those who look to the future with a clear vision know that climate change is not only the single greatest threat of our age, but also one of the greatest transformation opportunities of our time. The global stocktake has made it plain that the world is off track. Current national determined contributions are steering us towards temperature rises far beyond any safe threshold. This is the difference between survival on one hand and devastation for millions across the world on the other. Kenya and Africa are not passive victims of this crisis. We are taking bold steps showing that climate action is not only possible, but can also be the foundation for inclusive growth. We are building a climate-resilient society by embedding adaptation into every sector, from agriculture and energy to infrastructure and livelihoods, to sustainable mining and artificial intelligence. This ambition is visible on the ground. Today, 93% of Kenya's electricity comes from renewable sources: geothermal, wind, solar, and hydro. We are expanding investments in e-mobility, climate-smart agriculture, clean cooking solutions, and green manufacturing. We are also pioneering nature-compatible.
That is Ruto talking about the green energy, the renewable energy and all that, which is actually good. If we could invest in all that, but again, there's so many questions and so many things that scientifically they are not explained, especially the reliability of this green energy, because we have seen the windmills most of the times, they are not as sufficient as they're supposed to be. The green energy and all that, it's not as sufficient as it's supposed to be. But listen to what Trump says and tell me that Trump is not making sense.
It's climate change. Because if it goes higher or lower, whatever the hell happens, there's climate change. It's the greatest con job ever perpetrated on the world, in my opinion. Climate change, no matter what happens, you're involved in that. No more global warming, no more global cooling. All of these predictions made by the United Nations and many others, often for bad reasons, were wrong. They were made by stupid people that have cost their countries fortunes and given those same countries no chance for success. If you don't get away from this green scam, your country is going to fail. And I'm really good at predicting things, you know. They actually said during the campaign, they had a hat, the best-selling hat. Trump was right about everything. And I don't say that in a braggadocious way, but it's true. I've been right about everything. And I'm telling you that if you don't get away from the green energy scam, your country is going to fail. The carbon footprint is a hoax made up by people with evil intentions, and they're heading down a path of total destruction. You know, the carbon footprint was a big, big thing a few years ago. I remember hearing about the carbon footprint, and then President Obama would get into Air Force One, a massive Boeing 747, and not a new one, an old one with old engines that spew everything into the atmosphere. He'd talk about the carbon footprint, we must do so. Then he'd get in and he'd fly from Washington to Hawaii to play a round of golf. And then he'd get back onto that big, beautiful plane and he'd fly back and he'd talk about, again, global warming and the carbon footprint. It's a con job.
So there's so many things that we can listen Trump talking about, the whole, the carbon footprints, the green energy. And the question that comes into my mind personally is that, is the green energy sustainable? Is the carbon footprints and all that sustainable? Is it really going to help with the global warming or the global cooling and whatever, and all these things? Because I tend to think, just like the way Trump is talking about the climate change, it's just the climatic change. Like, you find that places that were extremely hot, sometimes they're becoming a little bit cooler, or rather the duration of winter and summers, they vary, you know. But looking at the sustainability of the green energy, I don't think it's really that sustainable. You see, China, as we speak, they have over 100 companies that make the EVs, the electronic vehicles, but it's not sustainable. Like, those cars don't have any longevity. You cannot compare an EV vehicle with like a classic Mercedes that runs on a petrol engine. In terms of performance, in terms of longevity, so many things. Talk about the EVs really being stylish and, you know, serving for the moment, but they are not built to last. They are built to help you, you know, navigate within the suburbs, within the cities like that. But they are not even guaranteeing you the longevity of spare parts, the services, and things like that. And I tend to think this is what Trump is trying to tell us when he says that the carbon blueprints or footprints and the green energies and all that, it's not really like what we think it is. In Kenya, we do have windmills. Does it bring about any sustainability? The ones that are in Gong Hills. No, they don't. Those things, most of them, they don't even work. And those that work are not even producing enough energy. So the green energy really, it's not something that is going to drive the world into the desired economy. It's not just going to happen. So what do you think? Do you think the way Trump calls the carbon credits and all that, the carbon footprints, nonsense? Do you think it's really nonsense? It's a scam? Tell me below.
The Haiti mission, an illegal and shameful adventure. We are appalled by President William Ruto's display at the United Nations, lamenting lack of support for his reckless Haiti mission. Let it be remembered, no Kenyan asked for this mission. In fact, Kenyans rejected it, and courts expressly barred it. Yet the president chose to defy the people and the law.
At this moment of turbulence, when we most need a strong United Nations, the organization faces its deepest crisis in credibility and capacity. Funding cuts have paralyzed its operations. Bureaucracy has slowed its response.
Hi Kenyans, mi sina maneno mingi. All I want to say is Ruto must go, like yesterday. Bye.
Ati black chocolate ni fine melanin bana kutoka nikapate. Kanapenda kenye mi wanapenda, so kanapenda toto chupa na haga nono.
Madam na kudai, umedunga mini na unapenda mangwai. Una dance fit, unawacha nikismile. Ama niko high, jua lies nice.
Kono moja mbele, gine yende rembe. Pile up, yoni.
Enyewe, Ruto must go. Enyewe, Ruto must go. By the way, Ruto must go. Enyewe, Ruto must go. Wash fire, Ruto must go. Enyewe, Ruto must go. By the way, Ruto must go.